Hey, welcome to another episode of Intel Archives. But you see that we are on the heels of the SolarWinds supply chain attacks, and I can say many organizations are still scrambling or running uh, behind the assets to check the impact of this recently disclosed supply chain. Whereas there was another campaign which probably is going to be a state-sponsored one from Chinese, which they name Hyphenum APT, has already began to exploit the vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange, and they have been trying to deploy a lot of web shells across. Not sure, it's like we try to just digest one big attack, which can be even made into a Netflix episode, but there is going to be another one, and let's see what it is about in this episode. So, as you know, that there has been four vulnerabilities which has been exploited in the wild, and by the time if you haven't patched, it's gonna be like patch, and patch it now, and start looking for indicators of compromise in your logs. So, moving on, who is this hyphen APT as described by this Microsoft threat research group? According to them, this hyphen APT group is like they try to target the United States across a number of sectors like defense, NGOs, etc. And predominantly, they are trying to exploit the vulnerabilities in public-facing servers, internet-facing servers, which is not only unique to them, but many people are doing it. Many APT groups are actually doing it, and also the usage of open source, legitimate open source frameworks to make attribution very difficult. But what is unique about this campaign is that as soon as they try to exploit the vulnerability to gain access, the next thing they try to do is to deploy China Chopper web shells. I mean, seriously, China Chopper? This was first reported by FireEye in 2013, and we are in 2021, and still it's really famous. And what's the best thing about this deployment of China Chopper is that they try to deploy these web shells in the server installation path of the Microsoft Exchange. That is going to be in the initpub www root exchange path, which is pretty much tricky because it's this is going to be very tricky because it might evade many AV EDR and also some of the common detection capabilities implemented by many SOC. So how the China Chopper looks like actually, but if when you see something uh, a string echo dollar cd echo and e which is going to appear somewhere like this domain echo, it's pretty much unique to this China Chopper web shell. The best reference blog for China Chopper was written by FireEye in 2013, and if you just try to Google it up, China Chopper plus FireEye, the first link which appears is going to be this one. And if you really want to read, I highly recommend you to start looking into it. But let's see some China Chopper examples in VirusTotal. We can directly pull in VT and start typing hyphenium. The reason I do is that the moment you type this campaign name hyphenium, there is going to be a lot of matches from the community, from the free and community Yara rules from Thor, from the awesome Florian Roth's Yara rule. Starts to prompt matches quickly for us. The best thing for us will be to just right click on one of the samples to see what it looks like. Mm, it's going to be an ASPX, which is a web shell. We can see that which country it has been submitted, and we can also go back and check when was the first time it was analyzed. Okay, it was pretty latest. You see, 1003, just submitted today. And what's its content? The content is going to be the very famous looking, the one liner, which has this key. Uh, which has this key. I think there are many keys. I saw bananas, ananas. Actually, this key differs. This is the most famous one for this China Chopper, and pretty much, yeah, they try to also deploy it now inside program files, the default installation path inside OAB, which we just saw. Also, this has been reported by Unit 42 as well. But what most unique sample which was circulating around was actually this one, which was actually listed in the IOCs from Microsoft, was this unique sample of exploit of this Microsoft Exchange, which pretty much predominantly was trying to check the existence of agents like FireEye, CrowdStrike, Falcon, and also carbon black, I think. And it was trying to write responses according to what it tries to see. But frankly, I really don't understand that what it really does, because the sample for me, it's I don't understand, but it's really an interesting one, because this one unique sample trying to check uh, big EDR, and not to forget the solar winds campaign, the sunburst code had pretty much checks of all the EDR vendors as well. So that's happening. These events are happening one after another, and some kind of checks like this is also very strange. So let's move on. Yeah, there's been a lot of post exploitation activities reported by Volatility, Microsoft, Fire, etc. And some of the common TTPs they use is to use proc dump to dump else as memory. They always use zips and rar to compress their stolen data. It's not the first time people are doing it. It's a common TTP from many APT groups, I would say. Usage of one-liner reversal, which is Nishang. They try to steal, export the mailbox data, and the usage of com svcs dll, which is present default in the system32 directory, to invoke the mini elsa's dump. Usage of psexec to execute commands of remote systems, and there has been even many more. The usage of net commands, adding domain users, etc., etc. These are the common TTPs. I mean, we can attribute this TTP to one APT group, because pretty much if you go and see or compare the TTPs of at least what to say X APT groups, I would say at least three or four will appear in them. So it's really difficult to attribute, hey, this has been done by APT 34 or APT 41. But what we can do is that we can see how we can hunt them, or in our how we can hunt them, also to see, also to understand how a command, for example, if a command like proc dump to dump elsas has been executed, how this will actually look in our logs, or how this will be there actually. Because this kind of artifacts, if we know already, it will be very easy for us to hunt. For example, I'll provide you some of the examples which how I would see is that on some of the analysis of TTP is that, for example, if someone is trying to proc dump to dump elsa's process memory, the simple command they need to use to proc dump exe, which is going to come actual elsa's, and you need to dump the elsa's. But this is very simple, just one liner, boom, you have the dump of the elsa's. But how can we hunt it down event logs? The best way to hunt it down is to do it is on sysmon on event id 11. And if we try to analyze these kind of hunting mechanisms also to understand how this command looks like, it makes the life of a security analyst plus the threat intelligence person itself, or even the malware analyst, to really quickly respond to some of those uh, what to say attacks, heavy attacks, I would say, but not too heavy, to what we can see. But also how this looks in the level of file system artifacts in terms of forensics. For example, let's take the same example of proc dump to dump elsa's process memory. We can, the moment I say forensics, the first three things we speak is going to be $mft, usn journal, and $log file. You know what is $mft, because it's kind of the master file table in the ntfs file system, which predominantly has information about the file like size, date, time, etc. And when we try to take and analyze these kind of artifacts, we can quickly spot out the usage of proc dump in this in the $mft. And moreover, the most interesting part of the file system artifact, which has been located in $usn journal, which is what $usn is like. It's like a record. It's like a journal which maintains a record of changes that has been made uh, to the file system itself, which includes file and directory which was created, deleted, or modified. And here you can clearly see is that this proc dump has been used to dump Elsa's here in one of the commands. I mean, I tried to pull this logs from very old presentation, but I can share that link as well as in the description box of this video. But why we are trying to show you, I mean, what's the point to understand this is that it's like if we try to take every TTP and imagine we try to map it to how we can how the TTP actually looks if a command is executed, and how it's been mapped in event logs, and how it's been looked in the file system artifacts. Pretty much it will make the life of analyst very easy, and these kind of mappings are a gold mine. And if we start documenting document analyzing TTPs like this, it's pretty much amazing, I would say. The next one is going to be the use of PSExec. It's a tool which is used to execute commands on remote systems. And pretty much how you can hunt it down, it's going to be in event logs, whether it's going to be in your security event logs or in sysmon. If you know the exact event IDs mapped and the query in hand, this can be easily hunted down quickly, which is going to be in this case, in our case, it's going to be 4688 or 4689 and event ID 1. And moving on, how can the usage of pxexec will look in the file system artifacts for forensics? The same thing I'm doing here is I'm doing here is going to be looking to $MFT or $USN journal. How this one looks, this execution looks of in going to be psexec, or the file create artifact in $USN journal. I mean, this kind of artifacts are pretty much gold mine, because for, to access these kind of file system artifacts, it's evident that you need to have a disk image of the machine. But at times, having a disk image in incidents is not too easy. What I would propose always is to use cape, the cape parser, where it has a lot of modules where you can quickly extract um, valuable digital evidence like $MFT, $USN journal, event logs, $log file, etc. And directly you can use Eric Zimmerman's parsers to parse them to quickly have those evidences in hand to to finish an forensic to finish an investigation, rather than waiting for long for a image. So yeah, but that's really out of scope of this video, but I'm in general it's a very good practice. And what else, they have been using this uh, com.svs .dll, which is actually present in the system32 directory, which is actually comes within the file system itself. So this is a very interesting TTP, because it is already present in the system32 in every Windows. So when you try to just give this command to mini dump, and you can have a else up dump with the full parameter, you can dump else fully by invoking run dll32. But how can we hunt it down? How does it looks in your file system architects? I think this can be a very good exercise for you guys, for even for me and for you, to start documenting it. The reason I'm trying to show this as a very short process is that I don't want to cover each and every TTP to show like this, but this can be a topic which I'm planning to do for the next video, where I am trying to map all the TTPs to this kind of file system artifacts and event logs to see how it looks and how it can be hunted. But for now, I leave it as an exercise, and do guys please hunt it down. But again, the mantra for this kind of 0 days floating around is to patch. It's, if you don't patch, it's a big problem here. And if it's like, if you have I came across this very nice flowchart in Twitter. Really nice one, but it's a really educational one as well, because it's that, do you have an on-prem exchange server? In case no, that's gonna be very difficult, because most of the times you should have one. If yes, you need to start installing your updates on every exchange server, as well as start looking for IOCs uh, in those default Microsoft Exchange folders. It's not to end here, because it's not only the -m APT group is was targeting. According to the research from ESET, just which was published today at the time of the recording, which is 10:03 evening at 3 o'clock, I would say. Uh, there have been more than 9 APT groups who are being very busy to exploiting this 0 day, this Microsoft CV, which is not limited to -m, because there is also WinNTI, there is also Shadowpad, there is Lucky Mouse, there is Tick, and there is whatnot. I mean, if you start speaking about each of this APT group, it will take hours of um, research and documentation. So let's not allow these people to be in our network. Let's be proactive and good to apply the patch as soon as possible. So moving on, this, like, we saw that there are many TTPs, how we hunt, how this looks into the event logs, how it surfaces in the file system artifacts. But I in the next section, I wanted to show you how can you correlate those IOCs. For example, if there is a group of IOCs, how can you um, correlate them in your threat intelligence platform, and pivot those IOCs in VirusTotal to catch some interesting PowerShell post exploitation scripts and to quickly analyze them. Not to forget, this PowerShell exploitation scripts has been already shared by the researcher John Howmood in his Git page. Since we even in his Git page, and he has already published a very nice analysis of step by step in his tutorial. But still, I wanted to take the other approach to see how we can catch those in VirusTotal and also how to correlate them in our 13s platform. So moving on, let's see what we can do with IOCs that has been shared by Microsoft, Volatility, and other blogs. But predominantly in the Microsoft blog, they have been sharing some IOCs. For example, on the latest content they shared, they were trying to share only the IOCs related to the China Chopper web shell and those uh, ASPX web shell names. But if we move on closely to one of the best write-ups of recent times was this from the Blue Team blog. They try to summarize everything that happened for the past week regarding this exploitation of this Microsoft Exchange Zero Day. Pretty much, it's a very good summary for any security analyst, Intel guy, whoever works in the blue team in a SOC to clearly see what is happening. But since we already saw those kind of post-exploit activities and TTPs already, what I really wanted to dig a bit deep is on the IOCs part. As an Intel guy, as a security analyst, what we can do with them. And they pretty much shared a couple of very nice IOCs on this part. Pretty impressive. But before that, there was also a very interesting tweet uh, from this researcher Kyle, who first showed that there has been some kind of exploitation happening, web shell being dropped on this uh, using this base64 decoded PowerShell stuff, which is trying to download again as another stager from this estoni.com. So as an Intel guy, as a best practice, what I would be doing is that trying to collect as many IOCs as an automated feed. Also, those IOCs from Twitter, etc., and also from some of these blogs. I personally try to add them to my threat intelligence platform to see if I see any correlation in the past events. Luckily for this one, when I tried to add this IOC, which was published from a Blue Team blog, plus the one from this published by Kyle from his Twitter account, long thread, which I'll give you in the description box as well, into my threat intelligence platform, which I maintain locally, which is actually MISP, or you can use anything like OpenCTI or whatever you want. Gave me some interesting correlations, I would say. The best part is that I saw several correlations to the IOCs published from the blog from Microsoft to the blog of blueteamblog.com. The one interesting correlation was on the domains actually. The both the domains, which is going to be ps209 and the cdn chatcdn.net. Both of these domains you see has been mentioned actually here. You see ps209.com, cdnchat.net, as well as from the first tweet from Kyle, who has been trying to say that this ps209.com was currently resolving to this IOC 188 or 166, etc. So boom. Okay, sorry. Okay, and what I can see, it has been already been analyzed in a very past event, which was created back in date in 2019, which is the most interesting part, and it was something from uh, uh, DLT minor campaign targeting some corporations in Asia. Pretty much interesting. So I tried to copy check what is this event, and I was very much surprised to see that was a very old uh, campaign that was documented by Carbon Black, which was nothing but a minor campaign which was targeting corporations Asia. And scrolling down, yes, we can see those IOCs here actually, the CDN chat and as well as ps20.com. And pretty much this is the time I would like to remind to everybody is that the use of a threat intel in-house threat intel platform and the best practice to document, I mean, say what, not to say document, but to update and maintain those kind of uh, IOCs in those platform will be very useful, because at this time you see, we clearly were able to see that this both IOCs has been used in the past campaign in 2019. I mean, we are in 21, but they are trying to use IOCs which is back 2 years, I would say, it was used in a campaign. And so let's start digging to it. So what I did was, I was trying to use VirusTotal to try to see what I can get from there. But when I was trying to do that for this video, I stumbled upon this great Git page from John Hammond, where he predominantly has tried to upload all the post exploitation activities pertaining to this Microsoft Exchange Zero Day, and he summarized all the PowerShell scripts step by step. He even de-obfuscated everything, and he has published it already. But before referring to it, let's see how we can use uh, mm, or how we can pivot using platforms like VirusTotal with the IOCs that has been published again by these awesome people and community. Thanks to them again. So what I did was that I just tried to simply take this IOC, which was actually hosted up, which was actually hosting up the two known IOCs, which was correlating in our MISP. I just paste it up here. Let's go see what is some DigitalOcean. Very nice. Uh, the most famous place to host things. Okay, I went to relations, and you can see clearly that exactly during this time it has resolved to this CDN chat. And even in 2020, at the same time, this old IOC was again seen. Very interesting. But let's come down to see what has been communicating to this IP as it was resolving. And the best part of it was, it was trying to communicate to some kind of a PowerShell script, which let's right click and see what its content is, uh, which is going to be a very nice base64 encoded stuff. And pretty much that is what I could see from here from John Amod. I think he has put up the second stage, right? Stage is 01 now. So this PowerShell should be the stage 0. Let's copy CyberChef. CyberChef. Let's paste one. Boom. Before, and you can see that, okay, let's not clear the dots, but you can see that it tries to just download a IEX download string from p.estoni.com, which is actually p.estoni.com, which was actually being given up here, estoni.com. So this should be the first stage. So that means it's trying to communicate to this file. And let's see what it's been downloaded, which is going to be the second stage, which we see during this timeline. You see it's going to be 3rd of 9th today. I think somebody has tried to upload this file, which should be this one. I would say payload.bin, which should be the second stager according to what I can see. Sometimes it takes time to load this one. So this content payload.bin is actually what has been put up here, which is actually this one. So I try to not sure why, but okay, this payload.bin is actually exactly the same from John Hammond, which is actually uh, this one. Let's just take whatever is there. Let's try to see what it does. It's gonna be like, it's going to invoke explosion, it's gonna be IO compression deflate stream, blah blah, from base 64, which we can see. And what's important is this part of base 64 thing. Let's just copy it down here, and I try to already do it. Okay, it's okay. So from base 64, and just we need to raw inflate it, is to see a nice second stage PowerShell script, which is what boom, yeah, which is what he has already been decoded, which is going to be the stage 02. Let's take this one and make some quick analysis on what is it. Boom, let's copy it, let's paste wherever you want. Let's paste it here. Sorry for this ugly stuff, but it's okay. So what it does, it said it tries to obtain the MAC address of the machine. It seems to be this one should be the mutex of something. Yeah, it tries to do some mutex here. It tries to obtain the MAC. What it tries to obtain the date field, reads the local environment variable and tries to put some log file here, and it tries to obtain blah 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 the WMI query string, where it wants to obtain the name of the operating system, the architecture, what else, the domain info as well, plus what, and it again it tries to download something, which is again the CDN chat.net. How many times? The same thing. So let's go back again to see the advantage of Intel platform, that we can see the same domain, CDN chat cdn.net. To not be surprised, because we already saw that in our old blog, in the campaign in 2019, the same domain was used, and you would not be surprised because if you go up, very colorful stuff to see is that, boom, they actually have been using, if you let me try to, I'm not sure I can put side by side to show you the difference. But if you see the one script which we just extracted from VirusTotal as well as from John Hammond's GitHub page, you see both has been the same. It's a copy paste of what has been there. It tries to obtain the global PX. It wants to obtain the WMI query here to obtain the domain name, the computer architecture. We have the same thing. Also, it uses the same chat GTN to obtain the another stager, which is predominantly the same again. And also it tries to make persistence. This is where it tries to achieve persistence here by trying to create a scheduled task as system for every 45 minutes, and that scheduled task will be running here as win net every time. So that is what boom, sorry, so that is what the blog says. You see there's a mutex here. Pretty much, what if you want to really understand this PowerShell script, is very simple, because you just need to read this blog, because they already have explained everything. It tries to create a mutex here. It tries to create a scheduled task. Only one difference was, I think, what is the difference which we can see? I think no difference, guys, to what I can see. Boom. Uh, so I think there will be no difference. Yeah, exactly. I think that's gonna be this. That is gonna be. It is trying to the best part of this code is that, you see, it tries to obtain a HTTP that's chat CDN, and according to John Hammond, he said that it has been trying to download the same code again and again, which I didn't verify myself, but if which I didn't verify myself, but it tries to obtain the same code again and again, and it was trying to push up the persistence over a loop on a try catch. It has an empty catch on a try catch, and else it tries to sleep for some time. Again uses the WMI query to download another stager, which is gonna be stage 4, and whatever which comes from here is gonna be stage 5 according to him. Yeah. So this has to be the stage 5 on this one. Let's see, they use the same IOC here as well, from what they show here. I'm not sure this is the same IOC here. Not sure they try to show it this one. Technical analysis, come down. Okay. Luckily they have changed IOC here, because it's going to be 134.209.13, but it's with an update. But here it's going to be 188.162. At least they changed the IP, but they didn't change the domain. It's arguably good, I would say. So this is going to be the sys one. So let's go back to VT again to see some VT magic. I'm not sure it's really magic, guys, but yeah, I really enjoy working with VT. VirusTotal actually, and the updated page PNG is already been downloaded from the same IP, because it's going to be 168 188 166.162.201, which is actually this one, update.png, and you can pretty much go to the downloaded section to have that file, which is an update.png file. And it's not a PNG, actually it's a PowerShell. Huh? It's a damn really big PowerShell, frankly. And if you want to really see this PowerShell, okay, I think it's been already pushed here by Java mode, which is really big. So for us, luckily, John Ahmad has already deobfuscated the PS1. But if you still want to deescalate it, you just need to run it back in the console in isolated VM to do it back, which pretty much is not required because we have the awesome people in the community like him to do the work for us. So just we can understand what is it. The script by itself, the PowerShell script by itself is like really big. I mean, damn big, I would say. And what was the final outcome of the script was not possible for me to analyze, frankly. I can see that a lot of SMB anonymous login packet, lot of SMB stuff has been done. And what from their blog, from the blog from Huntress, I think I should have opened it somewhere here. Yeah, they were trying to say is that it was the stage 5 code was trying to load the load these DLLs and was trying to run Mimikatz, the PowerShell reflecting Mimikatz. So there should be some traces of Mimikatz being loaded up here. Let's go back to the code. Control F, Mimi. Yeah, it's trying to do some kind of Mimikatz here. You see, PowerShell reflecting Mimikatz, and I'm not sure what they. And again, you see this kind of circle logon password, and you see they're trying to do as much obfuscation as they want, because the main objective for them is to evade um, heavy and EDR, I would say. So that's just the motive. And it was trying to drop two versions of Mimikatz, and I think from the tweet thread from Kyle, like we can see that. I think moving on, guys. If you want to really quickly analyze those PowerShell scripts, you can directly drop them in any sandboxes like hybrid analysis or app.any run. Because if for a security analyst, since a SOC who doesn't have access to an external VM, where he can't drop the PS script to analyze it step by step, this can be one easy process, because there you can see uh, in sandboxes like hybrid analysis or app.any run, you can quickly see the behavior of the PowerShell script, what it tries to does, what are the extracted files it has. And with this we can come to a conclusion, a near conclusion at least, to see what it exactly does. It also tries to show you what are the malicious indicators it does, like persistence, etc. And I also like app.any run, like most people who already use this, you know this, that they try to give you list those TTPs step by step to see to understand what this PowerShell script does. And moving on, I also spotted a very interesting blog from Picus, where they try to analyze those TTPs used by -m group to target this micro exchange servers, and pretty much it is mostly the same, which what we have discussed. Like um, I think it should be here somewhere. Yeah, the usage of proc dump, Nishang, zip, China chopper web shell, and Mimikatz, etc. The kind of same kind of TTPs which we just discussed in the starting of section. I highly recommend you to read this blog, because for me it's one excellent write up as well. And what else, guys? While recording this video, I found that there has been improvements to this attack. That the threat actors are now exploiting this vulnerability to put DL ransomware. So let's not wait for them to do this. Let's patch and try to make sure we check our environment for these IOCs, and let's hunt them down. And that's it for this episode on Intel Archives. I meet you up soon with another one. Ciao, ciao.